You ready? You ready for the DPS trap, Skills?
Where you coming?
DPS trap? I mean, nah, man. You
You
ready?
only got one guy. What are you talking about?
No one guy. No one guy. Here you go. Here you go. Our partners don't need to come.
Oh, never mind. There is.
Detected.
Yo, you stopping me. Go. I don't know what you want. You can come, and I
It goes bad. Oh, look at the guy.
Detonated gear detected.
Look at this. The party.
Yo!
Dunkler, cheater bot, VPN user.
So, if you're looking for a build that they're going to be calling you a cheater, bot, full VPN user, well, this is that build. The reason why it's so good is because it still hits hard and you have a little bit of survivability because you have a nice chunk of armor, and you also get that 50% of armor on break because you guys know in the DZ, Unbreakable's like one of those that people tend to use a lot now, right? Yeah, you can run certain things that give you pure damage, but having that extra 50% safety net allows you to get away from those situations, pop an armor kit, or do whatever you need to do. So in this build, you guys are seeing, hey, it was holding up. I had a couple 2v1s, then my teammate would come when I was struggling. I already had dropped that one, and then the guy comes over here. He tries to face me again because he sees I'm a little weak. I break down his armor, my teammate's shooting him, and then he just drops, right? So just something for you guys to keep in mind when you're running this build. Like with any build, you guys can make changes to it, but this is kind of how I like running this one, especially when we have multiple groups trying to push us. Just it's an overall really good build, and let's get into it. Let's break it down and show you guys how I have mine set up. So you might have guessed it, we were running the Kingbreaker sitting at 127,000 damage, 650 RPM with 50 in the magazine. If you take a look at this, we have assault rifle, health damage targets out of cover. Even though the Kingbreaker is a slow rate of fire, it's one of my favorite because of how hard it hits and it just melts enemies. So we have perfect flatline on here, amplifies weapon damage by 20% to pulse enemies. So to really take advantage of the Kingbreaker, you want to have a good solid weapon damage so that way you can amplify it on top of that. If you don't have that, it's not going to hit as hard. So just something for you guys to keep in mind when you guys are running this. Now we are running a critical hit chance scope. We have 20 rounds in the magazine. We have the link laser pointer because we are running the technician class that allows us to pulse those enemies without having to even use a pulse. And then we have 5% crit chance on the muzzle. Now I pair that up with my FAMAS. The reason why is if they're using some type of build that is going to cut off flatline, right? If they're using a pulse resistance build, well then I want something that can still hit hard. And this FAMAS right here has assault rifle damage, health damage targets out of cover, and then it has Optimus. Weapon damage is increased by 3% for every 10% ammo missing from the magazine. So yeah, another reason why you want to pick this up. And then if you look, we have crit chance on the reflex sight, underbarrel has 5% crit chance, the muzzle has 5% crit chance, and then we have 20 rounds in the magazine. So yeah, both of these are my go-tos, especially on this build. But let's get into the build. So for the mask, I'm running a Cheska mask. This is going to give us 10% crit chance. It's also going to give us weapon damage on here, crit damage, crit chance, and crit damage mod. Completely God rolled, exactly what you want to strive for when you're trying to build your builds. At some point, have those builds so that way you can start putting expertise into them. For the chest piece, we have the Fenris chest piece. So we have 10% assault rifle damage, we have 170,000 armor, we have 12% crit damage, 6% crit chance, and 6% crit chance right here. Another God roll piece. But the reason why I like this is because it has Unbreakable. When you break your armor or when it's depleted, you repair 95%, but in PvP, that's going to be 50% of your armor. So something to keep in mind, but that 50% allows you to survive. So I'm sitting at 1.6 million, about 800,000 I'll get back. And that's enough for me to do my work, hopefully pop a med kit, and then get back into the fight. For the holster, I have one of my favorite pieces right here, the Picaro's holster. I feel like this works great in PvE and PvP. Has armor, gives me 10% skill haste. We have critical damage and weapon damage. I believe they have one for sale this week. If you're watching it this video this week, they do have a Picaro's holster for sale. They had one last week too. So take advantage of that, pick it up, and then hopefully you guys can create a build on your own. For the knee pads, we have The Foxbear knee pads has armor on here, has 8% damage targets on cover because that's multiplicative, and then we have that 12% critical hit damage. So this all matters when this adds up and I'm able to hit harder. For the gloves, we are running the contracted gloves. This is gonna give us armor, damage to armor, and critical hit damage on here. The 8% damage to armor is multiplicative. So just remember that we have the 8% damage targets out of cover plus the 10% on the weapon. So that's 18%, and then we have 8% damage to armor. Now we pair this up with the backpack, and the backpack is gonna give us 15% critical hit damage, 15% weapon damage, critical chance, and a critical damage mod. And then look what the backpack does. The backpack has vigilance, increases total weapon damage by 25%. And then obviously we're gonna amplify that with the flatline talent. So just something for you guys to keep in mind. You got to pair these talents together so that way they take advantage of what that talent is actually doing. And this is no crazy new build. Builds like this have been out for years, but just something to show you guys how I run mine and how I like it. Now for the skills, I like running Defender Drone. Remember, this is going to give me 15% PvP damage reduction because I do have a technician. So something for you guys to keep in mind with this. It makes it that much stronger. So if you guys have been thinking about it, hey, it might be something for you guys to pick up. Now we also run the scanner pulse. We also run the decoy drone. I love running this with the Defender drone, but sometimes you got to sacrifice something for like a booster hive. Just really depends. But overall, if you can pick what you run, decoy and Defender drone are my go-tos, or pulse and decoy will probably be the two I go to. Let's check out the stats. So if we look at the stats, you'll see we have 54% critical hit chance, 156% critical hit damage, 75% headshot damage, 8% armor damage, plus remember we have 18% damage targets out of cover, plus an additional 21% health damage. And you can see why this build, it starts to chunk through that. It eats through that armor, just starts dropping those players, especially when they face tank you. You can land those headshots. If you can just land consistent shots overall, hey, it's gonna do its thing. And yeah, that is the build right there. You can run this a lot of different ways. If you guys want to swap out this mask right here, you can also put on the Coyote mask for in group settings. Just a lot of different ways you guys can run this build. But overall, this has been one of my favorites to run that still lets me hit hard, also gives me some type of survivability, and that way I can still put out that damage. But yeah, this is the build right here, guys. If you guys have any questions on how I have mine set up, if you guys have any recommendations, if you run yours anyway, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, hey, nothing but skills out. Take it easy, everybody.
Push out, bro. We gotta push out and focus one.
Make it now, yeah, make it.
He's on the floor.
Left there. He's dead. Get the right one.
He's dead.
Get him. Unbreakable. Go. Run. Good job.
My God, you're studying the thing.
Yo, guy.
Kill.
Need assistance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to pop that. I'm sorry, make it on me. Now. Push.
He fought somebody over here.
Yep, I'm fighting somebody over here, boys.
Yeah.
And good night. We're about to die.
Rogue seeker mine detected.
Be careful. It's gonna be a lot.
Make it on me.
Oh, he's next to me.
No.
That's good.